no helicopters have been procured for me to go to golf course. Thank you.
I never said he wasn't a great politician. I'm just saying he's a officer.
It's supposed to be an interview.
How'd you play out there today?
Well, I found the conditions challenging, mostly because there's no grass on the golf course, but there never has been.
I'm thinking about the swag bag, and I have high hopes for the swag bag.
Trap. When you got 3 crevices on the green, your course is trash.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back. Beltway Golfer Podcast, episode 33. Alex Dixon here. Most golfers that I've come across have a list of courses that you want to check the box on. Maybe you've got a list of courses you really want to play. Maybe it's chasing a list of the best public courses ranked by a certain magazine, or best public courses around the country, or maybe it's a playing all the golf courses by a favorite golf course designer or architect, or just maybe just a broad destination of some of the most sought after resort courses around the country. Our guest for episode 33 is Jim Wilcox, who accomplished checking the box on a unique list, which was every single golf course, public, private, and executive, in the old line state, in the entire state of Maryland. The other interesting thing about it is Jim really didn't fall in love and really start playing golf in earnest until he retired. So once he retired from his full-time job and career, he really fell in love with golf and decided he wanted to play every single golf course in the state of Maryland, and did this in the late 90s, early 2000s, when there was actually more golf courses open from the Tiger boom, and probably 20 or 30 golf courses that were open then that no longer are. So it was actually more of an achievement 15, 20 years ago than it would be now. I'd imagine that there's people that have played every golf course in certain states. Whether or not anybody else has done it in Maryland, I don't know the answer to that. But really enjoyed meeting Jim, just kind of hearing his motivation and anecdotes about how he was able to get on to certain private courses that can be difficult to get on. Jim is a former president of MISCA, which is the Maryland Interclub Seniors Golf Association, as well as the Free State Seniors Golf Association, and also a member of Hobbits Glen, where we did the podcast at a picnic table overlooking the first tee, and actually recorded it a while ago, earlier this summer, which you'll notice by the cicadas in the background going full bore. But happy to get this podcast published. Interesting conversation with Jim, and to hear about his impressive achievement of playing every single golf course, public, private, executive, in the state of Maryland. Here it is, Jim Wilcox, episode 33, Beltway Golfer. Enjoy.
Before we get into today's show, I want to talk to you for a second about a new sponsor of the Beltway Golfer Podcast, Fore Craft Cocktails. Fore Craft has brought the original golf cocktail, the Transfusion, to golf courses, to the DC market. It comes in a 12-ounce can, pre-mixed with premium vodka, ginger, lime, and grape. So this is not a mixer. You don't have to pour it over your booze. The vodka is already in the drink. Perfect for on and off the course. Already had a couple, incredibly refreshing. If you're a fan of the Transfusion, which, judging by my social media feed, I know a lot of folks are showing off their post-round and mid-round cocktails, this is a perfect drink. They're based in Virginia, right down in Richmond, has recently got into the D.C. market, and is available in Northern Virginia at beer and wine stores now, and will soon be at golf courses throughout the area. To find it, go to forecraftcocktails.com. It's F-O-R-E, craftcocktails.com. And they've got a store locator on the website that'll tell you where to find it. And by supporting Fore Craft Cocktails, you're supporting Beltway Golfer Podcast. So if you're a fan of this show, definitely go find some, enjoy a few. So check it out, forecraftcocktails.com. So Jim, I appreciate you having me out here. We're at Hobbit's Glen in the Harper's Choice section of Columbia, Maryland. Did I get that right?
Yep.
And so Jim, we just chatted a bit, but the reason we're sitting down here is the primary reason is the quest that you went on, an unusual quest that you went on, which was, well, I'll let you tell us. How would you phrase it?
Well, when I retired, I did retirement seminars because I was a psychologist with the U.S. Information Agency and Voice of America.
Sure.
And you had choices. I talked to people in the retirement program, and they said, well, I want to do something where I have the same responsibilities as when I work. Then we had other people who said, I think I just want to sit down and do nothing, let things happen.
Sure.
So I didn't know exactly what I would do either. So I said, well, I'm the kind of person who just let things happen, see what I want to do.
Yeah.
And came to my mind that maybe I wanted to play some golf after all, because I had never played a whole lot of golf.
Mm-hmm.
And I started playing. I met some guys, and they wanted to play for too much money to make me feel comfortable. So I played with them a bit. And then I realized I think I'd rather play by myself or find some people who don't want to play for so much money.
Sure.
And so I played for about a year or so, and then I was playing in Eisenhower Golf Course, and some guys from Chartwell, a private club, were playing, and they joined me, and they said, why don't you join MISCA? Hobbit's Glen is a member of the Maryland Interclub Senior Golf Association, and they play
MISCA, the Maryland Interclub Senior Golf Association, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Maryland.
And MISCA, for those that don't know, is so interclub, meaning it's. Do you have any idea how many clubs are part of it?
Well, we have quite a few now. I should know because I was the former president.
Okay.
But people have come and gone.
Sure.
I started out in Montgomery County with. I think Congressional and some of the other courses over there got together. Some of them dropped out, like Bethesda dropped out eventually. And then it just started to grow, and then the courses all over the Eastern Shore became members, even in Delaware. And we even have a course in West Virginia. We used to have one in Pennsylvania. So it wasn't just Maryland.
Got it, okay.
But it must be about 60 or 70 courses, clubs.
Got it, okay. And anyone who's a member of one of those member clubs who can join this association, join their tournaments.
You have to be 50 years old.
50 years old, okay, got it. So you decided at some point after joining MISCA that you were going to go on a bit of a quest.
Well, yeah, I think it started that way. I kind of had the feeling before that because my wife came home from the doctor's office with a brochure listing a lot of the public courses. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, gee, I've played most of those, so maybe I can start playing all of them. And then I had played a few private clubs, and I said, well, after I finished most of the public courses, I said, well, I think I'll try the private ones too. And that's when I ran into those guys from Chartwell who told me about MISCA. Mm-hmm. So I got some more private clubs from that, and then a couple of years later I joined Free State Senior Golf Association of Maryland. Okay. And they play once a month, different private clubs, practically always private clubs. And public courses are easy. You just have to show up and pay your money.
Sure.
Private clubs, some are very exclusive. Took me a while to get to meet somebody who was a member who would invite me. But I always did. I either had friends tell me about friends, or I had our pro get in touch with another club, and the other club would invite me to that.
When you got this idea though to play, starting off to play every public course in the entire state of Maryland, which obviously that's a lot easier than playing all the private courses. But did you know the number of total courses at the time? And this is about what year would we think? This is late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, late 90s, mid 90s.
Mid 90s.
And no, I didn't know how many there were. I just figured I would do it.
Just jumped in.
I had plenty of time.
Sure.
I was retired. I was retired at a relatively young age, in my late 50s.
Yeah.
And I had plenty of time to do it. And I didn't have a time limit or anything like that. Then I'd sprinkle in some private clubs with that too. And eventually I finished all the public courses first. And then I started working more diligently on the private clubs. Took me a while. Like I said, it was easy in some cases. Like I knew people at Congressional.
Sure.
And some of the other places. But I would meet people who were members of the club and ask them to invite me.
Yeah.
Or I had our pro contact them. In a few cases, I was just lucky. I had friends who knew somebody.
And
And
so
they would get me on.
And you were a member here at Hobbits Glen.
Yes.
So, you did have some of the benefits of, the pro here at Hobbits Glen making a phone call or two.
Right.
But you would share with me that
Well, I'd have to make the call first, and then he would verify.
especially
Then he would call.
at some of the, maybe the higher end, more exclusive,
Yeah.
hard to get
I think he
in
was a
clubs.
little embarrassed to call them. I wasn't, because I was desperate, because I
It-
really wanted to get on all of them.
Embarrassed, do you think, because of the purpose? I've got this guy who's trying to play every course in the state of Maryland?
He always told me, I would never do this. Every time I saw him, he would say, I don't know why you want to do this. Nobody else wants to do it.
He just thought it was silly or a fool's
Well,
errand?
I guess he was used to playing the same courses.
Sure.
I don't know what his thinking was. But that's always been my nature, even when I traveled a lot. When I was in the Foreign Service and the Air Force. I always wanted to see all the countries
Gotcha.
that were near me. And so it was the same with the golf courses. I wanted to play them all.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing it. Yeah. Caves Valley was the last one.
That was the last one on your list?
Yeah, that was the last one I played. And it was a high school buddy of mine who knew somebody there.
Sure.
Otherwise, I had a couple friends there who wanted me to come join them.
Yeah.
But you have to be a member of another club to belong to Caves Valley.
Sure.
And they would say things like, Jim, I'll be happy to have you there. I'll be playing there next year.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I don't want to wait a year.
Yeah.
I want to do it now. So fortunately, I had this buddy, Ron, who knew somebody who belonged there. And so I got on that way.
There's a handful of hard to get on courses, in the state. There's some high profile ones, Baltimore Country Club, Congressional, Columbia, Chevy Chase. These aren't necessarily the easiest courses in the world. You got to know someone, especially if you're just...
Well, at Baltimore Country Club, I played both of the courses the same day. And that's because a guy was a member of the Free State Senior Golf Association.
Okay.
So our executive secretary and I knew him. We played with him at Baltimore Country Club that day. I remember that clearly because what beautiful shape it was in. They had one little spot that was circled by a white chalk mark. And we were just amazed that they could find one little thing. Right. Now, usually like here, or especially in public courses, nobody would bother to chalk this thing.
Sure.
But there was a little tiny imperfection in the fairway.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we got on that way. And Congressional, I had good friends, so I got on there a lot. Burning Tree, as I mentioned that story. That was a tough one to get on.
How did you get on Burning Tree? Let's hear that again.
Well, Burning Tree was a friend of mine had a friend who was the accountant for one of the members there. And he and I got on with his employer, and we played with the pro also.
Got it.
And I remember we won. We beat him, the fellow in the pro, and they said, "You're not welcome here again because you won $2 from us." Of course, they were kidding.
Sure.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But I never did play there again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Any pointers or tips for folks that are trying to figure out a way to get on to a course that they've been just dying to get on, but it's so exclusive? Do you have any pointers for folks to how to get into that course? Hard to get on?
Well, certainly if you're a member of a club, private club, go to your pro and see if he can get you on, or if she can get you on.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work, call them up and ask them if there is some way they can get on.
Sure.
Or if that didn't work, try to find somebody who knows somebody that can get you on there.
You'd also mentioned, you went out and played, got on 4 streams in an unusual way.
Well, yes, they were having an open house to try to get more members. So I saw that and I went out and said I might be interested. So they played golf there. They bought me a steak dinner and they were very nice to me. But I knew right from the beginning that I probably wouldn't join because it was not a convenient place to go drive to. But they were very nice to me.
Because I can't imagine 4 streams is want for members nowadays. Was this?
Well, they did at the time, and I had a friend who joined Woodmont Country Club because I had heard that they were charging less amount of money, and his father used to belong to Woodmont, and he joined because of that, and he's still a member. So different clubs do that from time to time. I noticed that there's a course in Maryland that advertises a lot during the golf events on network television.
I think what that would be.
Yeah.
Another one I know that's a pretty popular one. It's an old classic course, Gibson Island. Did you play Gibson?
Yeah, that was tough.
But tell us that story.
I called there, and I talked to this young man who was a school teacher and acting as the pro. And I said, I'm trying to play all the courses in Maryland, but I haven't played Gibson Island. So he said, I'm sorry if you don't know anybody here. There's no way you can play here.
Sure.
I said, what if my pro, and I mentioned Gene Ward's name, who's retired since then.
Okay.
And he either thought it was the Gene Ward or it was some other Gene Ward, but he got so excited, he said, oh, Gene Ward, if you know him, why don't you come out anytime? So I got out and I was the only one there. They showed me where to plug in the cart, and then the fellow left. And when it was over, I plugged in the cart. I played 2 rounds because it's 9 holes. And when I got to my car, there was a police car waiting to escort me out of the area. So
do you think they were on to you about, or they caught up that whatever Gene Ward he thought you were referring to was?
Well, I don't think that was the case. I think they just did it as a part of
their, make sure that. Okay.
I don't think the police knew what else to do that day.
When you started this kind of quest to play, started as public courses and then you ramped it up with the private courses. Do you have any sense of from the time you said, okay, I'm going to do this, to when you finished?
I didn't have a set time that I was to do it. I just went and played as much as I could. Sometimes I'd play close to 200 rounds a year. I'd play a lot at the same day. Once I played day club when it was open, beach club. Then I finished off the day by playing at Seaside at the Ocean City Golf and Yacht. The next day, I played 18 holes with a friend of mine at the second course there at Ocean City Golf and Yacht. Then I went to Nassawango and finished the day off playing the 9-hole course at Winter Quarters, which has since closed.
Sure.
So that was my busiest time. I played, that many courses in 2 days.
And you had also brought up the very valid point that when you had kind of checked the box of playing every single course was a good 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, where there was a lot more courses open.
Yeah.
And so since then, far more courses have closed than opened. So if somebody did try to replicate that,
it'd be a lot easier now.
It'd be 20, 30 less courses.
I played 231 Maryland courses. 231.
And that includes every public, every private, executive, par 3 course, you name it.
Now there are 184 public and private.
Okay.
So that many have closed.
We did talk about one that maybe doesn't qualify for what we're talking about here, private or public, because it's very unusual.
Yeah, Anne Arundel Manor.
Anne Arundel Manor.
It's owned by a billionaire, and it's not a public or private or anything like that. It's just
personal property, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks know about it and maybe even driven the road that
Yes.
cuts right through the golf
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
But very few have actually played it.
I
It's
know.
not. It's not one that you essentially have to know one person to get on there.
Right. I've talked to the pro, and he said that he would email the owner, but that the owner usually didn't respond to his emails. So I'm still waiting for that. I'll probably call him again because I want to try to play everything.
Yeah, that's the one that got away. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone would hold you to that one because that's an unusual
Well,
situation.
that's because it's not
Right.
it's not open to anybody.
Right.
Just do whatever
Maryland's
the owner
also,
wants.
but Maryland's also a tough state. I mean, every state's, Virginia is, is large. Maryland's not the biggest state in the world, but it is long. So you've got to go all the way out to
Yeah, you have the
Garrett
mountains,
County
you
and
have mountains, and you have the oceans.
Yeah,
and
right.
you have flat, and you have rolling hills.
So there's quite a bit of driving to
Yeah.
even though Maryland maybe square mileage isn't on the
Well, it's
bottom
about-
third of state size.
Well,
but-
Oakland, which is way out in western Maryland, it's a good 3-hour trip, maybe
Yeah.
a little longer than that. Lodestone is one of my favorite courses, and that's out that way too. That's close to 3 hours. Then if you get to the beach, it's more than 2 hours. Like to get to Ocean City Golf and Yacht Club, to get to Lighthouse Sound,
Yeah.
those courses, it takes a while to get there.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to go through all these little towns that have speed traps, so you have to be careful.
And you mentioned that even though you essentially had completed the checklist and played every course several years ago, as new courses do open,
Yeah,
you make a point to get out there and make sure that checklist is continually checked.
yeah. Oh, I'm always my biggest fear is somebody's going to mention a course that I've never played.
Do you
But
remember?
So far, that hasn't happened.
I'm trying to think. Do you remember the last kind of new course in Maryland that you played?
Well, it was a 9-hole course up near Deep Creek Lake, and it was owned by some farmers, and I remember it because the first tee was blocked off by an electric fence to keep the cows off it, and most of the holes were very pretty, though. They were on the side of a mountain, and then I would get to the 9th hole, and I had to wait. It was a shot with par 3 over a pond.
Yeah.
And as I was waiting there, a guy behind me caught up and said, "Do you mind if I do some fishing?"
Yeah.
He broke out his fishing rod and fished in the pond while we were waiting for the guys to clear the final hole.
That's fun.
But it was fun.
But that's also how long ago was that?
Oh, that was 6-7 years ago.
So that's telling. I mean, that essentially means there hasn't been a new golf course open up in the state of Maryland in that
Exactly.
time. Is that
Even
right?
the Anne Arundel Manors have been 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
But very few have opened up. So many have closed.
Yeah.
I guess for development, because
Sure.
you can make so much money developing. Now, I think a lot of these courses probably closed prematurely because with the virus the last year or two,
Huge uptick in
yes, more and
in
more
golf
people are
rounds, for
playing
sure.
because they're not working.
Yeah.
So it was, for a while, it was difficult to get on some of these courses. And they all closed, like in the last 2 or 3, 4 years. So many courses have closed.
And you also mentioned, so you're a member of the Free State Seniors Golf Association, and they're recognizing your achievement of playing every course.
I'm going to be a distinguished senior.
Distinguished senior.
And at first I was shocked to get that, but I looked at the numbers. If it's on their website, there's only about 10 or 12 people who have that award.
Sure.
And I was the president there, and a lot of presidents never got it. So it has to be because I played all these golf courses.
Got it. But they didn't say specifically that was the reason.
No, they didn't say that was the reason.
Interesting.
No. I mean, I'm not a distinguished senior.
I'm sure you are. Maybe not more than the next guy.
Maybe I just don't realize it. Too humble to admit it.
Are there any other? Because I mean, I feel like we've only kind of scratched the surface on some of the courses that are certainly exclusive clubs that may be challenging for the average person to get on. Is it fair to say that the pro making a phone call, that helped you out in the majority of the cases, or are there some other funny anecdotes or stories of you?
Well, Winter's Run, which is a private club up towards Bel Air.
Okay.
They're the only ones where the pro said, why don't you come on out? That's great. Everybody else, I had to get somebody's approval, either a pro or somebody. If it wasn't through one of my
They didn't roll out the red carpet just
No.
because you wanted to play every course.
They were always nice, and like I said, by hook or by crook, I would get on them.
Yeah.
Sometimes our pro would make a call or respond to it when I made the call. Sometimes it was between these golf associations. Sometimes I met somebody playing golf and they invited me out. Of course, I had to humbly say, gee, I've never played there.
Yeah.
Why don't you have me out?
I'm trying to think
I had
of
to do that a few times, which is not my nature,
Sure.
but I had to do that a few times.
What about some others around like the DC area? Columbia, Chevy Chase, were those a simple phone call?
I called them up and they had me out. Now, Chevy Chase Country Club is the only course I've ever played in Maryland where I walked off the 9th hole and heard ice skating music.
Because the hockey rink there.
Yeah. And then I played Columbia, which I found very easy. Columbia Country Club from the
course easy or the ability to get on?
The course was easy.
Yeah.
And,
It's not a long course.
No. They have one unusual hole, par 3. You have to hit it up a hill, a blind shot. But if you hit it straight up the hill, you're on the green.
And Columbia, if my memory serves, got shortened a bit because of the beltway construction, didn't it?
It's quite possible, yeah. Quite possible. But I remember getting on those, and it was relatively easy to get on. I forget how. But I think I made a call, and our pro responded.
Well, I'm less versed in private clubs in Baltimore. What is it, like the Elkridge Club? I know that's a classical. That's a tough one to get on.
Well, I played with Free State Senior Golf Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Suburban Club, is that one?
Same with that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
got
So
on Free
that
State.
association got you on.
Yeah.
I know that's how a lot of people, even through Maryland State Golf Association or down in Virginia, the Virginia State Golf Association. Some of these one-day events you can play is a great way to get out on
member for the day.
Right, but it's a great way to see a course that you don't have a connection to and get out to at least check it out.
Yeah, Woodmore is a course like that.
Sure.
Now they're a member of MISCA, but they weren't.
Okay.
And I got on there to play with the pro.
Got it.
I forget how I got on. I just said I was really interested. It was a wonderful course.
And you said you haven't heard of anybody else even attempting this, really?
Not the private. I've met a couple guys who were trying to play the public. I don't know if they did it or not.
Yeah, interesting.
But I've never met anyone who played the private and the executives too.
Well, it's quite a feat, and congratulations for pulling it off.
Yeah, thanks.
And I appreciate.
I'm really proud of it. I'm glad that I got some recognition after these years.
Yeah.
I just did it and finished in 2005, I think. Caves Valley was my last one.
That was the last one, right?
And here, out of the blue, you call me. And then also Free State Senior Golf Association calls me.
I mean, it's an interesting story. I mean, not many people. I don't think it wouldn't necessarily occur to most people.
Yeah.
And then others, I think it's one of those things it's kind of fleeting. You're like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. I'll play every course in America. I'll play every course in this state or that state. And you say it, and then you play a few, and a month later you say, that's kind of
I know that's over and done. Now on to something else.
Sure. Well, listen, this has been great. We should get it. We're sitting here baking in the sun out here, overlooking the first tee.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you sharing your stories.
Sure.
And
happy to.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great.
Well, thanks for thinking of me.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Bob, too, for hooking us up.
Yeah,
Bob
absolutely.
Luke.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jim.
Okay.
I don't have a good golf game, but I don't really care. I'm a regular dude living in DC, and I want to know about DC-centric golf stuff. If you can tell me something that I don't already know, then that is great for me. I don't want the regular stuff. I want exciting stuff. I want different stuff. I want stuff I can't hear elsewhere. But I want it to be about DC golf.